Welcome back to our Sanlam Benchmark 2024 podcast on accelerating a better working South Africa. Now today we have a phenomenal man, Mr. Gus Roome from GCI Employee Benefits, who is the head of employee benefits. Gus, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Now, you know, throughout the theme of our benchmark, you heard a lot of the things that the members are looking for, a holistic value proposition. They're not only looking for retirement savings, but they're looking for something that will address their health needs as well as financial advice. And these things go intertwined, right?
Yes.
So, you know, how important do you think it is to have an integrated employee benefit solution?
I think it's crucially important to have a holistic view. I think it has been one of the challenges for members. And also for the industry to get their heads around offering that holistic service. I think that as an industry, we have an agenda, we have a commercial agenda, and you know we are to benefit as stakeholders by offering a fully fledged financial suite of services to our members, to our employer groups. And then also we have to be cognizant of the fact that members and employers, the paying clients, they also have an agenda, and we need to make sure that in doing so and in proceeding with this integration, that we don't create exit barriers and entry barriers. We have to be cognizant of the fact that we position and continue to position the value proposition to our members. I think that is why we are here.
I love that, Gus. Now, you touched on something very important around employers and members having their own agenda. How do you then, you know, can you share some of the examples of how you currently integrate these different agendas to benefit the member?
Yes. Okay, so for myself, I've been in employee benefits for 28 years. So I eventually started my own company, and but it was in 2021 as the employee benefits specialist in the retirement funding space that I realized that I have to partner with other service providers. And I found a home in the GCI group of companies that offer the other suite of services, healthcare, short-term, personal wealth management, etc., etc. And that to me has been a home. I think what drew me to the GCI group and as such was that they've got a value system that I could buy into. And that is quite important. When you collaborate and with other service providers, you need to make sure that you align in terms of your set of values and what it is that you want to achieve. Otherwise, it could be a big mistake in partnering with the wrong stakeholders, right? It's all about, at the end of the day, your reputation is very important. But they have a 360 degree of excellence. So what I was able to do is when my business merged with the GCI group, and then I became the head of employee benefits. But as an expert in employee benefits or specialist, I can introduce my clients to experts in insurance, experts in healthcare, experts in wealth management. And at the end of the day, we also have a phenomenal tool called WealthBit that GCI developed, which is a holistic tool that pulls into this WealthBit tool your pension or provident fund values, but then you can have a holistic view by plugging in all the other dimensions of your retail, you know, how you participate in the retail side, you know, where there's RAs, your property, you can do budgeting on that. So for me, that was quite, and you know, clients, I felt that clients embraced the concept. From a selfish point of view, what you do as an advisor, you close the circle to competitors to some extent, right? But having said that, it is important that that the people that you introduce to your clients have the same depth that you have. And I think that what's going to be important is specialization in the integration space. Because you can be a jack of all trades and not make a meaningful contribution. So what I felt comfortable was to partner with other experts. I don't know much about healthcare. I don't know much about short term. I've never done personal financial planning.
And you partner for that gap,
right?
But
yeah, but at least I could tap and collaborate with, work together with other industry experts. So I know about introducing these people to my clients that, you know, I can bring a certain level of expertise to them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, Gus, how you've gone and partnered in order to increase that depth.
Yeah.
And ensuring that what you touched on is very critical with regards to the values and the alignment part of it. Now, you know, what are some of the benefits and challenges that you've seen in the industry when it comes to this integrated employee solution?
Well, I've worked with several corporates in my time. I do find that, and I've seen that you can have a culture at a company level, but what I do find is that the different disciplines have got a kind of a subset culture. So what you'll see is at the Sanlam Benchmark Symposium, many of the people around here, we all of us know each other from somewhere, you know, and it's like actually a close-knit industry. And what I do find is that there's a different culture in insurance, there's a different culture in healthcare, there's a different culture in the retail space. And it's to marry these different cultures. As an employee benefit consultant in the retirement fund space, we are the glue that keeps everything together. And I do find that I think with the whole move from freestanding funds to umbrella funds, that the voice of the employee benefit consultant became less impactful or subdued in a way. Because, you know, trustees of freestanding, you know, we used to, in 1996, employee benefit consultants advised the board of trustees. They were the decision makers. They had no commercial agenda.
Sure.
But then with the move to umbrella funds, you know, we've got trustees talking or giving a message and communicating. They have judicial responsibility to act in the members' best interest, but the sponsor employer trustees also have a commercial agenda.
That's true.
And that is why the voice of the employee benefit consultant is so important, because we provide that objectiveness, we provide that unbiasedness. And I think that if we can uplift and bring the employee benefit consultant and you know, just take their role and lift up their role, that will enhance collaboration for all stakeholders, because we all have a role to play. But I do believe strongly that in the integration, because what integration does, it enables cross-selling, that you stay in your lane, that we respect each other's lanes. Because all have a role to play, and I just think that's going to be critically important. And it's also as a trust. If you as a retirement fund consultant have got a long-term relationship with the client, you want to know that the person that you're going to introduce to this employee group are not going to detract from your relationship, but that they're going to also uphold the same set of values and service levels that your customer would expect from them. So it is a big responsibility, and what I've seen from some corporates is that cross-selling has not worked in many instances, where that collaboration wasn't done properly. Even the execution of cross-selling has to be planned very, very carefully. And we have to remember that we have got an end client, employee group and a member. They are the fee-paying clients, and their priorities must come first always.
I love that, and I can see the passion that you have for members and doing things right for the members, and that the voice of employee benefits consultants needs to be uplifted. That is so true, especially with the two-part system that's coming up.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on the two-part system? What can we do to prepare our members and to educate and walk the journey with them? Yeah,
a lot has been done and written. I think as a people ask me, how do I to stay on top of things? And you know, it's very, very difficult. I think the fact that I was able to focus in retirement funding helped me, because you have to read a lot. So you have to read as a consultant. You have to understand the different messaging from the different, let's say, different service providers. And then it's to understand the value proposition and how each one functions, because not all of them function exactly the same way. For example, you know, members that are over 55, provident fund members that have to opt in, they have to understand with this particular service provider what are the terms, how is this going to work, and what are the deadlines. That's very important. Some of the other things that has kind of not been spoken about sufficiently, and it's something that I'm also kind of passionately driving towards, is that, you know, retirement funding has always been a long-term asset game. But what the savings component has brought in for actually a large segment of people that's going to claim against the savings pot for the next foreseeable years. We've heard this morning in the benchmark symposium of the indebtedness of households, and it's going to take many of them several years to get on even keel.
Yeah.
But suddenly you sit with a 12-month investment horizon in some of these members' minds, where the savings pot can actually become the balancing item in their budget.
That's true.
So suddenly you have a young member that's typically invested in a high equity default portfolio that has got suddenly a 12-month view, very conservative view in terms of claiming against the savings pot and saying, well, in 12 months' time, I'm going to claim now, and then I'm going to claim again. what they would want is they want certainty in terms of, the outcome of that investment. So suddenly looking at high equity portfolios, now they're looking to say, okay, I may want to put my savings pot into a type of, let's say, call it as an example, money market portfolio, high liquidity. And for industry, it's difficult also, because from a commercial agenda point of view, that is a bit of a clash. Because the total investment cost on a high equity portfolio, even a smooth bonus portfolio, is much larger in terms of revenue that it generates than a typical money market portfolio that you can get for 0.2% of assets per annum.
That's true.
But it's not about the stakeholders. It's about members when they have to claim that they know, okay, I've got more certainty in terms of the amount that's going to be available to me. Because if members come, if a market crash right before a member wants to make a withdrawal and the expected value that they've done the calculations is not close to what the expectations are, and we know how volatile investments can be over the short term, employers may sit in a difficult situation, a bit of having to deal now with labour issues.
Yeah.
So I just think yes, we do not want to entice members to access their savings pot. We all know that. But the reality is that many people are going to be doing this. And I just think it would be the more prudent thing in terms of the default strategy, specifically to make available appropriate, reasonable portfolios this member can access at reasonable costs. And then I think the education around that.
Yeah.
To get them to a place where they start moving towards long-term view on their savings pot. But I think in South Africa it's going to take a little bit of time.
100%, Gus. And I think the reality is some South Africans, sadly, are indebted, as you've said.
Yeah,
so as much as we don't want them to access the savings pot, it is, as you said, retirement funding is a long-term game. But at least there is a bit of roomway and wiggle way. And our part is to educate our members.
Exactly.
To not, try and get into the savings pot all the time.
Yes.
And it reminds me of a powerful quote by Albert Einstein that says, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who knows it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. Yeah. So we just need to remind our members around that. Thank you very much, Gus. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Gus Roome from GCI, Head of Employee Benefits.